darn thing's not going to stay, is it? That urethane loves 10 pins. What's up, everybody? Working on the urethane game today. Getting more comfort with throwing a urethane ball because I don't do it very often. If you're wondering, yes, I'm still struggling on the fresh out here, trying to figure out how to control the friction on the early house shot. Last night I tried urethane. Let's just say it didn't go so hot in the first game. And see, there's the problem. So it's not, I wasn't throwing bad with the urethane ball in the first game last night, except the problem was you'd get to the pocket and leave a 10 pin. So it just wasn't wanting to drive very hard, which it's basically typical for a house shot if you're throwing a urethane ball, especially if you don't slow it down a little bit. So let's do that. Let's slow it down a little bit and throw it on that same spot. See if it kicks out that 10 pin. Maybe. Hey, okay. Tapped it from behind. Wasn't terrible. Uh-oh, looks like we got a pin jam. Nope, never mind. It's back. So I did also try throwing my Joker Solid, the ball that I drilled a couple days ago, on the fresh out here, and I don't know, I think I was, because I threw urethane game 1, I was really behind the transition by the time I got to game 2, and so I struggled a lot with trying to figure out where I had to throw it. Thing is about the Joker Solid is it's a really, really strong symmetric ball. And if there's not enough volume out there, it has a tendency to do what you just saw, which is more or less roll out. So then you're forced to start getting around it to create some length down the lane. But that obviously translates into a little bit sharper break point, which forces you left with your feet usually. Oh, that slipped off my hand. Which again, on the typical house shot, if you move left with your feet with a really strong ball in your hand, it's typically not an issue because that's where a lot of the volume is going to be on a house shot, is through the center of the lane. But the problem is, Town and Country's house shot isn't nearly as heavy as some of the house shots out there, so their volume's a little bit less. And I just don't think it's got the volume to allow this ball to work its magic. Now what I'm bowling on right now is a house shot. Pretty fresh. Fresh as of about a couple hours ago. So if you're wondering what I'm working on today, it's basically trying to figure out that fresh game for me, that fresh oil game. Because that's the only spot I'm struggling at in league right now. Yeah, see, so there you go. Like I said, so that joker's so strong, it forces you to get around it to create some length. But as soon as you get around it to get that length, it becomes instantly sharper at the break point. So, I mean, I'm already standing 30 on the approach. And I'm looking right now 12, 13 at the arrows to get it out to 5 at 41, 42 feet. And it's just screaming off of it. So I'm going to move, of course, probably 4 and 2. So 34. I'm going to look 14, try and get it out of my hand the same way. And see, it still just bites really hard. And unless I could speed that up, another mile or so, I just don't think it's going to hold. And the thing is, even if I do speed it up, will it hold pocket? Yes. Will it drive through the pins? I don't know. I'm going to move another, let's see, that was pretty high, so I'm going to go 4 and 2 again. So we're 38 with my feet already. And now we're looking 16. Same release. Good shot. I mean, okay, did it strike? Yes. Did it go through the pins like I would want it to? No. You see, it got to the pocket, and the ball ended up behind the 9-pin. Now, like I said earlier, this week in practice, on a house shot, you can usually get away with that light hit. I would prefer better ball motion through the pins, so I can pretty much guarantee a strike. We're going to try that same shot again. So it was 38, 16, and I'm going to reduce the speed just a touch here. Oh, came around it a ton. That's going to scream. Oh, tripped the 9-pin. Yeah, so I came, like, as far as rotation on that one, I was probably 10 o'clock that time, so about like this. You saw how much sharper that ball became at the break point. Try it again here. Pretty good. Okay, not bad. I mean, I'm looking at about a half mile an hour slower on that shot than my previous. And that allowed it to go through the pins. Question is, can I be consistent at that over an entire game? Because that is slowed down from my normal speed, which I don't have to do very often. Oh, I lofted it. It's going to go hard. Yep. Accurate. I just got it down the lane a little bit. So as usual, for those of you watching, if anybody's got any questions about anything, let me know in the chat. I will do my best to answer your question. I am monitoring chat every few shots or so. Oh, that was way right. Whew. Yeah, and see, there you go. So that's why I'm concerned about throwing that joker on the fresh. I mean, like I said, it's really strong. And if you get it to that friction early, it's just going to catch and roll out due to the 2000 grit out-of-box surface it has in combination with the core that's in the ball. And that is not good ball motion, especially on a house shot where you should be able to miss a little right like that and still get to the head pin. See how strong that is? I mean, again, that's what makes that ball so good on sport shots. It gives you the control at the break point you're looking for. But if you don't got the volume of a sport shot, you have no business throwing it, really. Not a bad ball. I love the Joker. Just not necessarily good for a house shot unless your house shot has higher volume. So we're going to go to the Maniac. You know, I've been thinking about the Maniac as a fresh oil ball for a while because it's got a pearl sanded cover. And if you recall in my ball review about a week and a half ago, or however long ago it was, I said this ball reacts more or less like a hybrid. So it's not as snappy as a shiny pearl, not as tame as a dull solid, which might be what we're after on this type of situation. Oh, I took that one big time. 5-pin. Hope nobody's got their hand up right now, because even if I missed the 5-pin, I wouldn't be able to buy you a drink anyway. That's better. Yeah, see, that's what I'm looking for. So it got to that dry spot at 5 at 42 feet, and it was just controlled, not snappy. Will it carry? Will it go through the pins is the really big question. So if you're wondering, standing 30, my eyes are at 12. Oh, that was way right. But okay, that's actually a good sign. So I was right at the arrows by a good, 3 or 4 boards, which means it got to the friction really quick. And instead of jumping really high or rolling out like the Joker does, it actually held, got to the head pin, and went through the pocket pretty good. Now this time, we're going to try to not miss to the right. Looking 12, not 10. Oh, and I tug it, of course. Water break. Now, if you're wondering about last night in league, so like I said, I started with urethane. First game wasn't good. You know, it was, I think it was like a 170. Game 2, I was like, okay, we're obviously not going to do well with the urethane, so I switched to a reactive. Then I had to try and get lined up. And that took me pretty much the entire game. I did shoot a mid 180. Then once I got lined up and I figured out where the transition was, I knew what ball I had to be in for game 3 and punched out a 250. I was actually 279 pace up until the 7th frame. Oh, that's right again. A little bit behind it and I got it right. Hi Chris, how you doing? Worst ever series. So let me try and bring up your chat again. Okay, so yeah, I mean, potentially you were dealing with a tacky or inconsistent approach. As far as adjusting your slide sole, do you have shoes that allow you to adjust your slide sole, the Velcro ones? Because if you do, more often than not, instead of adjusting your slide sole, what you want to start with is your heel. And a lot of people don't think of that. They just think, okay, I'm not sliding very well, so I'm going to go from, let's say, an S7, and I'm going to go up to an S8. You got to understand, that's a big change as far as how much slide you're giving yourself. And I would recommend, if you have an extra heel with you, you know, like I showed in my video about sliding versus planning, I've got the shark tooth heel and I've got the smooth heel. The difference between those two is humongous if you just change out the heel, because remember, your heel is your brake. So if you have less brake, obviously you're going to have a little bit more slide. Okay, so if that's the only thing you can change, especially in league, if you got yourself a shoe brush, just a wire brush, I would brush my shoe, and I'll actually show you because I've got one. And you know, I use it every once in a while. You can pick one up at your nearest pro shop more than likely, but they look like this. And these things are great as an option to work on your slide sole before actually changing to a different sole entirely. And more or less what you're doing is if you brush the fibers towards the toe of the shoe. So let me take my shoe off and I'll actually show you here as a reference point. So right now I've got an S7. If I was to brush this way, right, what I'm doing is I'm tearing the fibers up and giving little beads of fiber on the toe, and that actually provides a little bit of slide. If I brush the opposite direction towards the bottom, that's actually going to decrease my slide. So shoe brush is a good idea to have. With that being said, if you don't have a shoe brush, and since you have the ability to adjust your slide sole, always make sure you have one sole above and one sole below what you wear normally. So for me, I usually wear an S7 out here at Town & Country, and I always keep on me an S6 and an S8. Gives me a little bit more slide and a little bit less slide. Hopefully that helps you out. That's a little better. Oh. So I think honestly my answer out here is to just not worry about the strong solid balls. Leave those at home for league night. And I think my maniac's probably going to be my fresh oil ball, just because I know it'll be tame enough at the break point, even as a pearl. Yeah, see that, even though that went a little high, that's the shape I'm looking for on the fresh. It's not exactly jumpy, not exactly slow like you saw with that Joker, kind of in between. All right, so we're in game 3 now. We've thrown a few different balls trying to see what works. I think I've got it figured out, so we're going to try and shoot a game for score. Good shot. Oh, okay, so a little bit of transition. I mean, decent shot. Got it to 5. I was actually behind that shot instead of around it, and it read a little bit harder at the break point. It's a coincidence I left this because last night in game 1, I left this 3 different times. That was fun. And if you're wondering, no, I did not come close to picking it up. Yeah, you're welcome. And yeah, I mean, check your pro shop for a different heel too. Like I said, I keep a shark heel with me and a smooth heel, because really the heel, if you can change that out, is going to change your slide a ton. Going from a shark to a smooth, you'll get easily a lot of extra slide. So just be careful with it. You know, if you do change it out, or you get a pair of shoes that you can change the heel, and you do that at one point, take that first approach just a little bit steady so you're not surprising yourself. Because I've actually changed my heel out in one occasion, and I almost ended up across the foul line because I slid just a little too much. So sometimes it's the heel, sometimes it's the sole, sometimes it's both. You never know. Depends on the quality of those approaches, really. Okay, let's see if we can not leave a big 4. So we're going to stay behind it, and 2-1 to the left. So 32, and we're looking 13 now. Should get us out to about 5 at 42 feet. Oh, and I missed right. Hey, but we went Brooklyn and it carried. Why not? There's nothing wrong with that in league, right? Everybody does that in league. I think my feet were just moving a little fast that time. Okay. Slow the feet down a bit. Same target. Let's be accurate this time, how about? That's better. Get off it. Okay, that's just because I was behind it. I'm going to go to my normal release here after I pick this up. And I think that ball's going to shape no problem. The thing is about this whole thing I've been working on in practice this week is I'd really like to get that first game a lot better, because my goal this year in league is to get my average up into the 220s. And that's not going to be possible if I continue to shoot low in game number 1, because then that just puts too much pressure on you to try and get game number 2 and 3 up into the high 250s. You know, I can do it. I can definitely bowl 220 games. I do it all the time in practice. It's a matter of doing it when it counts for something. Okay, 32, 13. Let's generate some rotation here, shall we? Maybe a little too much. Oh yeah, way too much. It was accurate though, 13 out to 5. Good shot. So based upon what I just saw there, I was accurate with my release, I was accurate with my speed and my targeting on the lane. That tells me I need to go left. So we're going to go 2 and 1. So we're 34, 14. Same break point. Same rotation. Good shot. Curve. Oh yeah, there we go. And see, that's the other thing I think I'm struggling with is, you know, on that first game of fresh, I would prefer my angles to be more square, but with how the house shot is out here, I think that's not an option. You know, I think I probably need to be closer to third arrow to start based upon my speed and my rev rate combination. I don't think I have the ability to play this particular house shot more square. And I've tried lower differential balls too, and you know, the thing about lower differential balls is, yeah, they're cleaner through the front, but they're a lot sharper at the break point because they're retaining so much energy. And so I've tried lower diff with some surface, and just, you know, it wasn't going through the pins quite right. So, all right, so we're 34, 14. Same shot we just threw. Let's be consistent now. Good shot. Go, ball. Oh, that's a mean 9-pin. I was a little high flush, but you would think you would get lucky. Maybe catch a messenger. Uh-oh. And see, that right there, everybody, is why you don't rotate your spare ball. I was online to pick up that spare, but because I rotated it, it missed. All right. It's the simple things, right? Another good shot. Oh, I can't believe that broke loose. I thought that was good the whole way. Felt good off my hand. I was accurate. Ball speed seemed pretty good. I mean, maybe I came around it just a touch. I don't know. It's all right. I need to work on my washout splits anyway for PBA competition, because you do leave them quite a bit, especially if you're struggling with ball shape and motion. All right, so we're going to target the 6-pin. So that means we're going to be standing 34.5. Give the ball some rotation. That should kiss the 3-pin, theoretically speaking. Up, too close. Yep, too much. And I knew it as soon as I let go of it. Okay, we're going to open up a little bit more here. So 36. And 15, same release. Good shot. Go ball. Oh yeah. Try that again. 36, 15. Oh, that came off my hand weird. Maybe. It leaned on it. Two-handed carry. So you've been a one-handed bowler since you've started. Suffered with rev rate. Not a surprise. A lot of one-handers suffer with rev rate. Well, I mean, I guess it matters a little bit on how long you've been bowling, really, and what you're comfortable doing. I think the future of the sport is two-handed. With that being said, I teach as many youth as I can who are open to the idea of the two-handed method, including my own two girls. So I think that's the right direction to go. Just keep in mind that it's not an easy path to learn the proper way to do it. I've been two-handing for over 4 years, and it's taken me that long to get good at it and get my average, up above 200. Now, granted, when I started out, I didn't have a lot of coaching or anything like that in my area, so it was a lot of self-paced learning. So what I would say, David, is if you're looking to do it, find yourself a coach, either me or some other coach that's local in your area, and start working with the coach about learning the two-handed method the proper way, because that's going to speed up your progress. Took me 4 years of self-paced learning because we don't have a lot of coaches in my area. So that would be my recommendation. And, one-handers, yeah, if you have improper technique, rev rate's really tough to get as a one-hander. Pulling your shot and having trouble looking. You look at the pins. Oh, hang on, guys. I got to get rid of some of these bots. That is the most annoying part about doing lives, is these bots that end up showing up. Okay, they're gone. So, yeah, I mean, if you're looking at the pins, that explains a lot. I mean, when it comes to targeting, think of it this way. It's harder to hit your target if it's really far down the lane, I mean, you got an approach here that is 60 feet from foul line to head pin. It's kind of hard to be consistent if you're spotting the pins as far as a target. So if you've never targeted any closer than the pins, what I would recommend you start with is the arrows. That's basically the biggest target that you can see that's quite a bit closer to you. The biggest thing to remember is with targeting, it's easier to connect 2 points than it is 1 point. So even in the case of targeting pins, if you were to say, okay, I'm going to use the 6 pin as my target, but draw an imaginary line from that 6 pin straight to where you're standing on the approach, and wherever that line crosses at the arrows, that's your next reference target. That's easier to do for a couple reasons. Number one, it helps you visualize the path of your ball. And number two, you're basically throwing a ball in a straight line. Whether you hook it or not, you're throwing in a straight line. It's always easier to connect a straight line between 2 points instead of 1 point. Just try and draw a straight line on a piece of paper with, 1 point versus 2. It's always going to come out straighter with 2. So I would say look at the arrows first and start with that and see how things change. And that would be the best way to do it. But if you're going to do that, always try to connect 2 points. So if you're going to start at the arrows, look at maybe second or third arrow, depending on where you stand, and draw a line from that arrow directly towards the foul line. That will help you kind of visualize the path the ball has to follow. Ah, they're back. All right, just trying to get rid of these bots. You're welcome, David. Anytime. Okay, so we've got a double going into the 10th frame. That last shot obviously wasn't the best. Where was I standing? I think 36? 15? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I missed right again. Maybe. Yeah. My left leg was tingly. Blood flow. So you pull your shot when you look at the arrows. You know, and if you're pulling shots looking at the pins and you're pulling shots looking at the arrows, I would say that it's not an issue with your targeting as much as it is probably something in your approach, more than likely your timing. You know, and I don't know if you're a one-hander or a two-hander, but keep in mind, if you're pulling shots, usually that means that you're moving the ball just a little too quick in your approach. So try to move that ball a little bit later, and that may help you. You could also do something like, you know, maybe speed your feet up a little bit, slow your feet down a little bit, and see if that maybe helps you get more in time with what your swing is doing. Oh, off balance. Why? Yeah, so in that case, two-hander, if your slide is finishing and your ball is still, like you say, at the top of your backswing, then I would recommend slowing your feet down a lot. I'm not familiar with how you throw the ball two-handed, but it kind of sounds like you're using a bent elbow. That would be one of the only reasons you can get it that high. And if your feet are moving too quick, you're definitely going to get to the line before that swing finishes. So I would start with slowing your feet down first by quite a bit and seeing if that syncs you up. If it doesn't, then try to move your ball just a little bit sooner, because you have a very big swing, which takes a lot of time to complete. So in your particular case, moving the ball a little bit sooner as opposed to a little bit later could also help. All right, guys, I've only got a few shots left and I got to get going. My daughter has another basketball game that I got to get to. Two-handed carry. I know I didn't get the 10 pin out, but still. That was a lot of forgiving pinfall on that hit. See, that was the first shot I've thrown in the last 4 frames. That just felt perfect. You know, you always throw that one shot where everything just feels dead on, timing feels on, your release feels on, everything feels great. I wish I could throw that a lot more often, because if I could, I'd be one heck of a bowler. All right, we're going to move 2-1, 38-16. Oh yeah, that Joker Maniac, man, it goes to the pins no matter what. So I think that might be the answer for me for the future. On the fresh, don't worry so much about the dull solids and the strong solids. Instead, we'll go with a sanded pearl. We'll try it next Wednesday, see what we end up with. Oh, I dropped that one early. Still online. All right, guys, thanks for watching the live today. I will definitely be here tomorrow for some more practice. But we'll see you guys next time.